Hello everybody, Bubblezest here, and this is Hearts of Iron 4. In today's video, we're going to be doing another What's the Point Multimix. Just like the first one, we're going to be covering a load of paths that I don't think deserve a full video on their own. So, let's get started. First up, why roleplay games don't count as a point. Now, this has been a rule since the first episode of this series, but I've never explained why, so I might as well now. The reason why roleplay games don't count as a point is twofold. One, I think it's a cheap way out. Literally everything in HOI4 has a point if you include RP. And two, I think it's really unfair on roleplayers. What you're basically saying is, yes, it might be very bad, but hey, at least you can RP with it. As if roleplayers deserve a bad focus tree, you know what I mean? Now, it's time for the Second Helvetic Republic. Yellow Switzerland, Yellow Switzerland, Yellow Switzerland. Next up, the Latvian and Lithuanian military dictatorships. I'll be covering both of these in one segment, because my problems with both of them are exactly the same. We're going to be playing as Latvia though, because this is the size of their tree, and this is the size of Lithuania's tree. So, you know, I can save a tiny bit of time. So, let's suspend the constitution of Latvia, go up to speed 5, and begin. The only way we can get a military dictatorship is with a martial prime minister. And our new Prime Minister's first act, to banish the leader of the Perkin-Crusts. And that will get rid of them for good. Finally, let's work on the military, starting off by improving military life. Although all that does is give us more non-aligned support. Which I guess is useful, that's more stab. And a military diarchy. That's grown up, isn't it? Diarchy. Not a word you need to say very often. Well, we've made it. The main event. The military dictatorship itself. All of this, and the only benefit we actually get to the military is a tiny bit of extra command power. Well, here we are. The Latvian Military Directorate. What a name. We get a new colour and a new flag. Actually looks alright. So, what's the point of the Latvian and Lithuanian military directorates? To be honest, there really isn't one. Cheaper conscription laws, when we're not aligned, are kind of useless. Yes, doing this allows us to formalise the Baltic Entente or join the Allies fairly early. But if I'm honest, doing it as democratic would be a lot better. Because at least democratic has access to Baltic unification or united but separate. With this, you're still mostly screwed. Because remember, the Soviet Union will eventually come after you and claims in Baltic. You have to do something to survive. And a tiny Baltic military state isn't going to survive Stalin. One little note on Lithuania's version of this, martial law, there is enforced martial rule, which gives war goals on Latvia and Estonia. Sure, with this you can unite the Baltics fairly easily, but again, I think the Baltic Union does it better. I guess it's alright since you have the option, but I think I've made my opinion of it quite clear. Coming all the way from Death or Dishonour, it's Democratic Hungary. Well, for once, we're going to go down balanced budget, but instead of doing something like Austria-Hungary, we're going to have to elect a democratic king. Let's get to it. Gonna hire myself, the democratic reformer. We're gonna need him. Don't worry, we only need 30% support for non-aligned to do elect a king, and I think we'll be fine. Well, the time has come. Let's get our king, Karl V Wilhelm. Hey look, that's what it calls him. That's what I'm gonna call him. Well, here he is. We may no longer be a kingdom in name only, But our king is a different story, because this is the only view we have of him. We still need 40% democratic support before we can do responsible government, so there's still a bit of waiting to do. But the most interesting thing is probably this: call on Sweden for support. If either one of you go to war, you can actually ask for the other one's help. So this means Sweden can join your war, send some aid. But most interestingly is the faction that this creates has Bernadotte. I believe that this faction is one of the rarest in the game. We're now ready to have a responsible government. Although what's funny is, public elections will not be held. So instead of a responsible government, it's more like a responsible dictatorship. And democracy triumphs again. Although in our one and only election, they're in minority. Minority government it is. And here's our new leader. Yep, Hungary's democratic leader is one of the few left that actually just has a generic portrait. You know, even Kazakhstan has some portraits assigned to it. How democratic Hungary doesn't is beyond me. Anyway, let's see if our new leader can succeed in rapprochement with the Little Entente. I've improved relations with Romania, so I think they'll say yes. Come on, Romania, you know you want to. Oh, how rude. I haven't seen this before. So, let's approach the French. How rude of you, Yugoslavia. All of that and we're still locked on Trianon. When this works properly, it actually gets rid of the Treaty of Trianon, which is one thing in the Democratic Tree's favour, but someone decided they weren't very happy about that. And now we have two big choices to make, whether or not to join the Allies or to make the Balkan Pact. And here's the thing, both of these have source of upsides and downsides. On historical, joining the Allies will mean Germany will just steamroll you. But the Balkan Pact, well, no one will declare war on you, but no one will declare war on you. You won't be doing anything for the rest of the game. And most of the time, Romania will try and leave the alliance to join the Axis. So you'll just be on your own. My whole opinion of this tree is, it's kind of pointless and should probably be redesigned. Look, there's only 4 focuses down here. There's definitely more potential here. New Zealand's alt paths. So, if any of you know your Bubble Zest lore, this should sound familiar to you. Because out of all the paths I'm going to talk about today, this is the one I did actually intend to do a video on. But I ultimately didn't. And you know why? Because New Zealand's tree is boring. Look at it. It's so small. What can I even say about it? When I tried to make that video, all I did was become independent 3 times and say the path was boring. It's redundant, isn't it? Like, even comparing New Zealand's focus tree to other Together for Victory trees, it doesn't stack up. Look at Australia's. It isn't the best, but it does have some replayability. The only thing New Zealand has going for it is forming Polynesia down here. But New Zealand's focus tree is in such a weird state, I'd almost make the argument that the generic focus tree is better. The generic focus tree gives you militarism. That's better than any of these focuses, you know? I almost don't have to say it, but I should. New Zealand's focus tree should be redesigned. Is there anything I would add to New Zealand? Well, I think the Constitution Amendment Act and Independent New Zealand should be expanded. What I'm thinking of is maybe New Zealand doing something like Ethiopia's African Union, but for the Pacific, you know? Maybe New Zealand could try and decolonize the Pacific or something, and at the end you form Polynesia in an event chain or something. I don't know. Maybe say your ideas about New Zealand, because I'm sure you guys have plenty of ideas. Well, this one should feel familiar. Communist Hungary. This is an easy one. Communist Hungary is pointless. Look at it. It's so small, just like New Zealand. The biggest positive I can give this tree is the Hungarian Red Army. 5% recruitable population is nothing to laugh at. But everything else in this focus tree? Yeah, I can laugh at it. Pressure Romania, intervention in Czechoslovakia. On first looking, these two sound alright, but here's the little secret of the Communist Hungarian tree. You don't get extra cores from these events. Even if somehow you get Southern Slovakia, Transylvania, you won't get cores on them. And that assumes that you actually get the right event to do it, because the event will also be sent to Stalin. He can say yes, he can say no. Maybe if he says yes, you can ask Germany, but Germany can say no. Worst case scenario, you get absolutely nothing. Of course, there's also the Revolutionary Council, which suffers from the worst communist faction that no one will join syndrome ever. Even if literally everyone around you went communist, they'd all just join the Comintern. So, what should Paradox do about it? Well, of course, again, probably redesign the whole tree. But, as a stopgap, here's one thing I want them to do. I think the communist tree should have access to reaffirm territorial claims. I know, this isn't a perfect solution, but in my opinion it'd be a good compromise that'd at least mean you can get some more cores as the communists. And before I forget, there is one unique thing about the communist tree. The fact that if you do join Comintern, Balkan will become the leader of the Communist Party. This is assuming that you manage to complete this focus before he gets purged though, and he will in like 1937, 1938. However, I've done a whole video about it already. That's why I haven't done a Communist Hungary video since, because that's the only thing you can really do with Communist Hungary. Coming all the way from the Balkans, it's join the Allies and free Balkan states. Both of these Bulgarian focuses are in the same part of the focus tree, so may as well do them together. Going to be going down via seeking cooperation with the Tsar. It's a little faster than the Agrarian Union. And no, we will not be doing legislative elections. We can approach the United Kingdom via liberalisation of trade policies, which is good enough for me. God, it's been such a long time since I last played Bulgaria though, hasn't it? I think the problem is I just feel like I've done it all. I know I haven't, but there is a feeling I do have a lot. Well, let's see if we can pull this one off. Right, let's get those non-aggression packs. There, Romania. Oh! I thought I had to do Yugoslavia, Greece and maybe Turkey. But nope. All we had to do was one with Romania. Cool. I'm probably the first person in HOI4 history to actually do that. Because most people would probably just do it another way. Well, let's approach the United Kingdom at last. Thank you, thank you. Our next move must be to join the Allies. I would have been quite surprised if they said no. Let's get to work. By consolidating the third Bulgarian state. Hey, it's technically unlimited stab, so that's the plus. I'm glad to finally say this, because it's taken a little while. Let's do free Balkan states. Which means we get a war goal in Italy. But hey, our duty in the Balkans is an okay national spirit. Some stab, some unlimited manpower, less consumer goods. If you hear me complaining, I'm not. Don't worry, Ethiopia, we're coming. We will help you, soon enough. Let's do this. Declare calling everyone. Come on, allies, give me the naval supremacy. You can do it. Perfect. Let's see if Bulgaria can take down Italy. Wow. Let's see if I can't cut Italy in two. See, this is why I'm only declaring on Italy now. If I declared on Italy before I'd done things like rearmament, I wouldn't have enough manpower to sustain even this. And I should say that this isn't perfect either. Where is the Italian Civil War? I repeat, where is the Italian Civil War? The world wonders. I swear, Italy's actually going to capitulate first. But hey, that's a pretty good encirclement for Bulgaria. We've taken down 70k, but we've lost 31k. Looks like we do lead the conference so far. There we go. He's been deposed, but will the Civil War fire first? Yes, it just fired. But who got the puppet? Oh dear, this is a bit of a mess, isn't it? I'm taking Libya. There's nothing you can do to stop me. This is a bidding war to stop border gore. And it looks like I lose that. Oh, dang. Don't even get a slice of the Italian fleet. Oh well, let's see what we've made. We took 8 states, Ethiopia took 2, and Bulgaria and Italy took 12. Which means, yep, we got the puppet. Right, I guess now time for the final thing. Asserting our claims. Not sure what this does, but we can find out. Bulgaria and Italy influencing our politics? Are you sure? If anything, it should be the opposite. So, did that actually do anything? Claim, claim, claim. So, no, I don't think that did anything. Honestly, I really do not know how Paradox expects you to use assert our claims. Because eventually Yugoslavia and, in theory, Greece should end up in the Allies, so it's not like I can take control of Macedonia, or Central Macedonia, or Thrace from Germany or something. I'll get to Bruges from the Treaty of Karova, so don't know how you're meant to play with this focus. So, what's the point of asserting our claims and freeing Balkan states? Well, one of them gives you a free Italian puppet, and one of them I have no idea. But the problem of both of these, if I'm completely honest, is the fact that you can just do unification of the Balkans. Unification of the Balkans means that most of these are just okay. As an alternative playstyle, I'm okay with this. This is fine. This is fun. This is alright. And you know what? Sometimes that's alright. It doesn't have to give you cores on all of the Balkans. Sometimes it just has to be okay. This one has been a long time coming. It's requesting Japanese support as the Warlords. And here we go. So, to approach Japan, we need more than 40% support for fascism. I'm glad I hired myself the fascist demagogue. Both of these aren't that useful. All they'll do is take away our stability. Ironically, I think fascism on the rise is the only easy way for us to get the support that we need. But I can wait a little while longer. So, we finally have enough support to approach Japan. But here's the problem. We have to complete Proclaim Rival Government first. As you can see, it says the Guangxi clique has to be fully independent to do this focus. If we don't complete this focus, we don't get the extra cores, we don't get the new focus tree, we don't get nothing. We have to wait. Alright, let's proclaim a rival government. Nice, they're just melting. And victory. Right, so let's prepare to approach Japan. Not ready just yet. Let's deploy these 66 cavalry, convert them over to our infantry, and train up and prepare. Look, I can't attack Chiang Kai-shek with just 6 divisions. Believe me, I've tried. At this point, it doesn't really matter what focus we do, so not going to mention it too much. Okay, this is funny. Because the game doesn't know that we've changed our focus tree, it no longer recognises the fact that we have actually done the focus opposition, so we can actually join the Chinese United Front. That's funny. Okay, I don't think it matters too much how trained our units are, so let's... What? Approach Japan has disappeared. So you can't approach Japan if you proclaim a rival government. But the only sensible thing you can do is proclaim a rival government. So, what's the point of requesting Japanese support? There isn't one. Even if you do actually request support, you know what will happen. You'll become a puppet. A Japanese puppet that can't proclaim a rival government, can't get extra cores, can't do anything really. All that will happen is you'll be dragged into the war with China that you basically can't do much about. And of course you'll be dragged into the war of the Allies, and eventually you'll probably lose. So, you're kind of stuffed. Sorry to be a bit of a disappointment, but what can I do? There is one thing actually. We can open up political discourse and prepare to hold a referendum. We will join this, one way or another. Here's a funny thing. It'd probably be cheaper for us to discredit the government and have the fascist referendum forced upon us. And you know what? I'm going to do that, because that's kind of funny. There we go. Referendum. And now we can just join Japan on our own. Well, when we improve relations. So you know what? I was wrong. What would be quicker? Improving relations or justifying? I think justifying. Let's go. And yet, we can finally join Japan. Not in the way any of us expected, but got there in the end. That is a nice looking encirclement. 20 divisions in the end. And there we go. I think in the end my losses were like 200,000, but China's was like 2.2 million. That wasn't perfect, but went okay. Now let's see what we can get. Is what I think is about to happen? Yep, Japan is giving me all of China. Well, let's see what mess we've made. To be honest, with the exception of these two little states, that was actually pretty clean. If anything, this shows why you shouldn't do Japanese support. Because look, all we had to do was flip fascist and join the Japanese faction, and Japan gave us most of China for free. But, here's the thing. I think that requesting Japanese support could be a lot better if it was expanded a little. You know, it could be like Manchuria's tree, where you have the option to be obedient or become independent. You know, something like this could be a fair way to expand this little focus tree, and I think if this was implemented, it'd be a lot better. This segment has been funny though, hasn't it? I've basically not actually done Imperial Protection. But hey, that doesn't mean I have to play the path exactly how it's meant to. All I have to do is find a way to answer the question. And finally, hard formable nations. Persia, Macedonia, Arabia, etc. Believe it or not, I've actually gotten requests for this. So, let's do it. I have no problem with it. Yes, you do have to do quite a lot to form Persia, but that's the fun of it. Not everything in HOI4 has to be easy, you know? Back in my day, forming Byzantium was quite hard. You had to take all of the Balkans, not just Turkey. But now, it's relatively easy. So it's nice sometimes in HOI4 that some things actually are a hard challenge. And this is this, and that is that. I think that'll be all the paths we'll be looking at today. We've looked at some pretty interesting ones, and you know what? This has been pretty fun. I'm glad that I've looked at all of these paths. I know, it's taken me quite a long time to get to some of them, but I'm glad to have done them now. So, until next time everybody, I thank you for watching, do hope you've enjoyed it, and until we meet again, from me, Bubble Zest, goodbye.